Hey guys, this is Technoli. Today we got a very special video. I've got this monster Thermaltake case from a customer that was having some issues getting his new machine to work. Now this is on the Designare Gigabyte Designare Z390 motherboard. Now we're doing this one on OpenCore, and this subscriber was just having some issues getting it running and getting it working perfectly. And he is in major video production, works with some huge 8K files, and needs his machine to be stable. He works out of LA, he works out of San Diego, and he was having some issues, so we got it running for him. Now this is an i9-9900K, 64 gigabytes of G-Skill RAM. He's got a Radeon Vega 56 in there, and he has two NVMe hard drives. He's got 1 terabyte drive for the boot drive, and then he's got a 2 terabyte for whatever he wants to use it for. And look here, guys, you can put in all of these hard drives for storage. So nice case, huh? Beautiful case. It's got real glass on the front, on the top, on both sides. It's a beautiful, beautiful box. So we're gonna do this one, OpenCore, and I'm gonna show you how to do OpenCore on a Mac. Let's get started on this one. Okay guys, here we are on the desktop. In the description below, guys, there's going to be a link to all of these files that you're going to need. You're going to download all these from my website, and this is everything we need to build a USB bootloader on a Mac. But one thing you have to have, you need to make sure that this file right here, Install macOS Catalina, is in your Applications folder, or you're not going to be able to make your vanilla bootloader. So in order to get this, you need to be on a Mac, go to the Apple Store, and just download, it's free to download the macOS Catalina installer package, okay? All right, so let's get to formatting our USB. Now I've got this little old USB stick in here that had High Sierra on it, and I'm going to just go ahead and erase that one. So we'll go up here and we'll go to Utilities. And then we want to go to, right here, Disk Utility. And go ahead and select all devices. And I want to look for my Cruiser. Here's my USB. And I'm going to erase it. And I'm just going to call it USB. And we're going to keep it Mac OS Extended Journal and GUID Partition Map, and click Erase. Now, as soon as this is done, we're going to go to the internet. Close this out. We'll go to the web here and just type in make USB bootable Mac. And you'll see this support.apple.com website. Just click on that, and what we want to do is go down here to where it says Catalina and copy this text all the way till where it says volumes /. Okay, just copy that and close this out. Go up here to Spotlight Search and type in terminal. And we're going to right click and paste that text in here, but we're going to finish this by typing in USB, because that's what we named our little thumb drive. Okay, USB, hit enter, put in your password, and then just click Y for yes, and away it goes. It will erase the drive, and this will take about 20 minutes to build our USB vanilla bootloader. So when this is done, we'll come back and we'll continue on with the next steps. Okay, so once that's done, we're going to have our USB stick here ready to go, but we need to see the hidden EFI partition. So we'll use Clover Configurator to do that. So we'll just mount the EFI on the thumb drive, which is right here. Put in your password, and you'll see we have this EFI partition. But there's nothing inside of it. So we have to build the complete EFI folder from scratch with OpenCore. So in all of those files that you downloaded, you're going to see one folder that says OpenCore 0.5.6. I want you to go in there, double click, and copy this EFI folder over to your thumb drive, EFI partition. Okay, so while you're here, double click on OC and go under drivers, and I want you to get rid of everything in here except for FW runtime services. Okay, these are for legacy, these other files. So we got that. Okay, in tools folder, I want you to go ahead and delete all of these files. Move them to the trash. All right. So now we've got a Kext folder that's empty. We've got our drivers folder that has one file in it. Now, you downloaded the Kext and drivers. And we need to copy these other two files into the drivers folder. We've already got the FTime runtime, or the FW runtime services, so we don't need that one. Okay, so we got those. All right, then let's go over to our Kext folder. And for this particular motherboard, we need Apple ALC, which is pretty common for all of you guys and all your system builds. This is for your audio to work. This particular motherboard has an Intel Ethernet LAN connection, so we're going to use the Intel Mousy Ethernet Kext. And then Lilu, Virtual SMC, and whatever grain, those are always required. And then also for this board, it helps to have USB inject all to have all of your USB ports working. So we're just going to copy all these and put them right into our Kext folder here. So we're done with that. All right, let's go back. Now, while we're right here, let's go back over to the OpenCore folder that we downloaded and go under Docs. And I want you to just grab the sample plist and put it into our OC folder right here. And then go ahead and rename this to config. Okay? All right, now we're getting somewhere. Now guys, what we need to do is we need to compile SSDTs for this particular motherboard. And we're going to do that with the help of the wonderful people on the OpenCore website. These guys are total geniuses. And we're going to go over there and compile some files that we need. So let us go over here and go to Google and just type in OpenCore and hit enter. The first thing you see, OpenCore Vanilla Guide. Just click on that. We're on a Coffee Lake chipset, so we want to be on this page. Now, all of these things we already have downloaded, so we don't need to mess with those. Now here's our ACPI, and this is where we need to compile our SSDTs to put into that ACPI folder on our USB partition. So in order to do that, we're going to use a little program called macIASL. All right, so go ahead and double click on that, and that'll open up. And I just want you to go to File and go New. All right, then we can close this out. All right, so what you need to do is, this is easier than on the Windows. Just go into here, and we got to copy all of this language all the way up until definition block. Don't do any of these */ stuff. That's just for giving you a definition of what it is. And just paste it into here. All right, and then just go to File, Save As, and we're going to name it the same as this. So we're going to name it SSDT plug. Now, make sure you're going into your desktop and then to your SSDTs folder that I've got for you guys that you downloaded, and make sure you change the file format. If you don't, you're just wasting your time. You got to change it to ACPI, machine language, binary, and click Save. That saves it as an AML file. All right, let's just close that out. And let's go over back here and go to here, but we got to open up this again and click New and click on this one, and we'll go down to the bottom here and highlight everything all the way up until we get to definition block, copy and paste, and then this is called SSDT-EC-USBX. Okay, we're saving it to the right folder, and we're going to change the file format and click Save. All right, perfect. So let's open up a new one. Close this out. Got a couple more to do here. Okay, we definitely need this one. This is specifically for our Coffee Lake Z370 and 390 boards that have a problem with booting. So we just need to copy that up to definition block and go ahead and file Save As. And this is called SSDT-AWAC. And make sure we change the file format. There we go. Let's open up another one. Close this out. One more, guys. One more. We're almost done here. Okay, we need this one. And we'll go down here to the bottom, up to definition block. Copy. Paste. And then save as. And this one is called SSDT-PMC. Make sure you change that file format. Okay, perfect. We're done with that. Now let's get on with building that config.plist. So in your folders that you downloaded, you've got proper tree master. I want you to double click on that. Double click on propertree.command. And we can go ahead and minimize this for now. All right. So what we need to do is we need to build our config.plist. So go to File, Open, and we're going to go to our EFI folder right there, OC config.plist, and click Open. All right. First thing I want you guys to do is just go ahead and get rid of these where it says warning. Just remove, 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 and remove. All right, now we have these SSDTs that we need to copy over to our EFI folder under OC ACPI. Copy all 5 of them. The one that I included, which was thanks to Casey J over at Tony Mac website for the Designare Thunderbolt to work properly. Just copy those into the ACPI folder. Okay, so we've got our config.plist ready. I want you to go ahead and go up to File and then OC Snapshot, and then click on OC and then click Choose. And a bunch of things just happened in here. What that did is it gave the path to all of our SSDTs, to our drivers, and to our KEX. So we don't have to do it manually. But if you'll notice, under ACPI, these SSDTs that we put in, they all say false. We have to enable them. So we'd make them say true. Double click, choose true on all of them. Now, the Designare Thunderbolt 3 SSDT is already set to true, so we're good. All right, so we're done with this section. So we're going to go down here to quirks. And everything here is by default. And that is this section right here. So we're okay, we can move. There's booter, here's booter. All right, let's go down here to quirks under booter. And let's verify everything here. Now see, the first two should be yes, and we need to change this one to true. Yes equals true. Okay, no, 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 and then enable safe mode slide. Enable safe mode slide, yep, that's true. The next one's true. And then clear down here to provide custom slide is true. Next one is true. And on this particular board, I want you to go ahead and choose yes or true on shrink memory map. Okay, shrink memory map. All right, perfect. Now let's go on down here to device properties. And on this build, we're not using onboard graphics. So we're going to ignore the onboard graphics. This motherboard does have an issue with can't allocate area boot problems, and that has something to do with the iGPU. So we're going to use a graphics card on this high end of a system anyway. So we're going to ignore this section. All right, and let's go on down here to kernel. So here's kernel. And we're gonna, everything here is fine. You can go ahead and go down to where it says quirks. So we got all of these done. All right, quirks. There's a lot of changes to be made here. So the first two need to be true. And then no, 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 no. And then disable low mapper needs to be true. And then go down to panic no kex dump needs to be true. And the next one is true. And then port limit is true. Okay, miscellaneous. Got quite a few things to do here yet. So everything here is fine by default until we get down to right here, disable watchdog. So right here, disable watchdog, that needs to be true. And then we got to change this display level number. So I'm just going to highlight it. It's easier just to highlight it, copy it, and then double click and paste it in there. Enter. And then target needs to be 67 on this one. Okay. Now, let's go down here to security. And security needs a couple of changes. Allow NVRAM reset, yes. Allow set default, yes, or true. No, no, no. And then vault, right there, needs to be optional. Optional. Okay, and then scan policy needs to be 0. All right. Now let's go down here. Everything's fine. NVRAM, right here, guys. NVRAM. We got quite a few changes to make right here. These are really important, as all of these are. So we've got our boot args. So let's go ahead and copy these. Debug equals 0 times 100. Make sure you have a space between them, and then put that in, another space, because we need this one. Copy that one, and let's put it in there. Now we need one more that's not even listed on here for this motherboard to work properly. I want you to type in slide equals 1, okay, and hit enter. Okay guys, so the next step here is to remove this line right here. It says NVDA. I want you just to right click on it and remove that line. That's for using NVIDIA graphics. All right, now we got to change our language. This is in Russian right here, okay? So if you want it in English, I don't know what the other languages are, so I'm sorry, but all they have here is for English. And then double click and just paste that number into there for English. All right. Okay, let's move on here. We'll go down here. NVRAM. Yeah, all of this stuff is pretty good until we get to where it says write flash. That needs to be true. Platform. All right, here we need to type something in. Right here where it says Mac Pro 5,1, we need to change that. And for this high end of a system, we're going to change it to iMac 18,3. Hit enter. All right. So let's move on. Now, right here, guys, you see this MLB, this number, and this number. Those are numbers, when I tell you guys, you say, oh, my iMessage doesn't work. Well, you have to change these numbers. You have to make new serial numbers for your computer. And I want you to do it afterwards because I want you to get everything working properly. And we're going to be using this little program right here that you downloaded, this Gen SM BIOS. That will create some new numbers for us. But let's go ahead and finish up with the USB, and we'll come back to that when we get everything installed. Okay, so automatic right here, everything's true. It's all good right here. Spoof vendor true, and then yes, 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 and true. So we're good. UEFI, let's move on down here, guys. Now we've already got our drivers loaded. It did that for us automatically. Where it says audio and input, we can go past these. Output, we can go past these and go clear down to where it says quirks. So let's just move on up here. Okay, so what we need to do is just verify these. So 0 and then no, and then request boot var needs to be true. And request boot var routing needs to be true, which it is already, and false. So there we go. We're done building the config.plist for this thing. So let's make sure that we go up here and save. Just file and save. Don't save as. All right? We are done, guys. Now, let's get into the BIOS on this and let us set it up so we can get this installed. Okay, here we go. Okay, guys, so we're going to tap that delete key to get into the BIOS on this Gigabyte. And there we go. All right, so over here on favorites, this, by the way, is the latest BIOS flash on this. This is F9B. So I would suggest that you upgrade your BIOS to that version. And it's going to give you a lot more choices here that we really need to work with. First thing we're going to do is disable CSM support. So we'll disable that. Secure boot mode standard, VTD disabled, and of course we've got our SATA controllers turned on. All right, let's go over here to Tweaker, and I am not going to suggest or do any overclocking right now, so we're going to leave it by default. And in settings, go under here and we'll just check some things. Now the power management, the sleep function, is working on this fine, so what I would do is just leave it set up like I have it here because it's working. So you could just pause the video and make sure your screen looks the same as this one. Okay, let's escape and go to I/O ports. All right, I want you to, of course, you've got your PCIe graphics card in slot 1. Your internal graphics disabled. Aperture size, it doesn't matter, you can leave it there. I've got the Wi-Fi onboard disabled because it's not supported. And then all of these settings here, of course, we've got our audio controller on. We've got above 4G decoding enabled. This one, a lot of guys skip this one or miss it by accident. And then everything else right here is enabled. Thunderbolt configuration. Just set it up like this. And then down here, disabled. And then down here under DTBT, just set it up like that. It's working. So that's what matters, right? All right. USB configuration. enable, 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 disable, and auto, auto on those storage device things. Okay, network stack disabled. NVMe configuration, of course, there's the 2 hard drives, so that's cool. The SATA, of course, we've got it enabled. We've got ACPI selected, which is a must, and everything else just by default right here, guys. No RAID. Of course, we have this right here, which is set up by default for our Ethernet, and that's all good. We don't need to mess with anything over here. And then our boot menu, you can leave it set up however you like on as far as your boot options. I've got it set to boot to his boot drive, which is that 1 terabyte drive. And then I've got my USB stick as the second boot option. But you know, if you want, you can just choose the F12 boot menu and you can select yourself. But when your computer's done and you just want to boot from your boot drive, then you can come back in here and choose your boot option number 1 to be your boot drive. That'll make it easier. Fast boot is disabled. Mouse speed we don't care about. This is very important. A lot of guys think you set it to other OS, but no, that won't work. We need to set it, go ahead and set it to Windows 8/10 WHQL. Of course, like we did before, CSM support is disabled. Secure boot right here is disabled. And there we've got that set up to standard mode. All right, that's it. Save and exit. We're going to save and exit, and we're going to be booting from our new USB that we just built. Okay, so let's get started. Okay guys, so I'm tapping that F12 key because I want to catch the boot screen. Now when you change your BIOS settings, it'll kind of reboot a couple of times, but don't let that freak you out. It'll eventually come up. I'm going to select my SanDisk and hit enter. We're going to go through some initial text screens right here until we get to the menu. Wow, that's a lot of text. All right guys, so we want to make sure we're choosing our install macOS Catalina external and hit enter. Now we're going to go through a lot of text. It'll get stuck on a couple of lines. Don't let that freak you out. Give it a, 30 seconds or so. If it goes past the, couple of minutes, then you've got a problem. But this one goes pretty quick. It'll get down here and get stuck on 1 or 2 lines, but it moves on past it. And here we go. Our first boot screen. It's just that simple when you have your USB set up properly. Let's get up here to where we format our hard drive. Now I just hooked up a little SATA drive on the side here because I already have it installed on his 1 terabyte drive. So I'm just going to install it on another little 120 gigabyte SSD just to show you guys this process. Okay, now we can get busy. Now I do have my Ethernet cable plugged in, but with this, guys, I'm going to show you, you don't have to have it plugged in. A lot of you guys are getting stuck on the Windows version because it's requiring that Ethernet cable to be plugged in. But I'm going to disconnect mine and see if we can get past that screen. All right, disconnected. Now let's go ahead and go in here, and I'm going to format that little drive I've got in here. So let's see, show all my devices, and there it is. That little drive right there. And we'll erase it. And I'm going to call it test. And we'll change the format to APFS, GUID partition map, and click erase. All right, we're done. So let's go up here and choose macOS, continue, continue, agree, agree. And I don't have my Ethernet cable connected, so it's working without it. Continue. All right, guys, this will take, I don't know, about 20 minutes, maybe a little less, to get up here, and it'll reboot about right in here. And we, of course, need to leave our USB stick in there when it reboots. So as soon as this gets close to the end here, we'll come back. Now, what you're going to love about this is it's so much faster because the OS is on the thumb drive. So this is only going to take about 6 or 7 minutes. Forget about that 20 minutes. That's on the Windows version. So here we go. 3 minutes remaining. And there it goes. Man, that's fast. So it's going to reboot. We've got our memory stick in there. Let's come back up here. And this time we're going to choose the hard drive to boot from. All right. So I'm going to go right here to where it says macOS installer. So that's the second step. That is our hard drive. Going to go a lot faster, of course. But it will get stuck on a couple lines. Okay, here we go. Man, this thing is fast. Now we're still in the installation process. So it'll give us an estimated time here to go across the screen. Yeah, it says about 12 minutes remaining. That's probably about right. So we'll come back. Boy, I tell you guys, this is fast. This is installing like Windows. Well, just a few minutes here. Coming down to it. Let's see here. There it goes. There it goes. Leave that USB stick in there. We still got some work to do here. Come back up to that boot menu and choose our hard drive. Okay, there it is. Test. Now you don't get stuck on this previous shutdown cause 5 for quite a while. I would say about maybe 20 seconds or 30 seconds maybe. So, but don't worry, let it pass. And this, guys, right now is probably the best time in the world that you could subscribe to the channel. Go ahead and hit that subscribe button and that bell to get notified when we have our videos coming out. I really appreciate it so much. Okay, so when it comes up to these screens, guys, my capture card freaks out because it doesn't want to capture the actual OS for some reason. I don't have any idea. But anyways, that's why the resolution changed. So we'll go down here. We'll pick our country. Where's US? Where is it? A, B, C, D, E, F, G. There it is. Okay. And we'll just continue. Now I do have my Ethernet cable plugged in now, but I'm still not going to sign into my Apple with my Apple ID because I haven't changed my serial numbers. Agree? Agree? Just name it whatever you want, guys, and put in a password. All right, continue. Customize, enable location services, no analytics. We'll set this screen time up later. Series fine. And you know what? Light mode. We always do dark mode, so we're going to do light mode. All right. let's tell it what kind of keyboard we have. Mine's just a little Windows keyboard. Little cheap Logitech. There we go, guys. Look at that transparent bar. Isn't that beautiful? Let's go up here and look at this thing. Look at this monster. i9 8-core, 64 gigs. There's his Vega 56. Whew. All right. Now, to finish this off, guys, we still have to copy our EFI folder to the EFI hidden partition on this hard drive. So, grab your memory stick that's got Clover on it, or you can, re-download it. I've got it on a little stick here, so I'm just going to grab it. Just put it out here on the desktop. Now, we're not using Clover for anything but to just mount the FIs, okay? So let's go into Clover. Now, when you first do this, you have to right-click and click Open, and then click Open, because it thinks it's a bad file. And we're going to mount our EFI, and we're going to mount, it's okay, and we're going to mount the one on the hard drive, right? So the one that I have on here, got too many drives, there's my test. So I'm going to mount it, put in my password, click OK, and click Open. Now we have to open the EFI partition also on the memory stick. So it's a little different than Windows. Because if you remember, if you've watched any of my other videos, it just comes up as a boot drive, and the EFI folder's right there. So here's my EFI folder, hidden partition on the USB, and I'm going to drag it and drop it into here. So now we don't have to use our USB stick to boot. All right. So let's go ahead and restart the computer, and we're going to pull out those thumb drives. Okay, here we go. Going to go through the whole boot process here. Of course, I want to boot from my hard drive. And away she goes. Now, guys, if you want to get rid of this text, you can do that in the config.plist, and that's that -V under boot args. You just remove that and then save your config.plist, and it'll get rid of it. So there we go. All installed, working beautifully. I tested the Thunderbolt. It works. That's it, guys. There it is. We've done our Hackintosh with OpenCore on a Mac on a Gigabyte Z390 Designare i9 9900K. Very stable system. Sleep mode does work. Go ahead and change your serial numbers on your board so you can get iMessage and all the other wonderful Apple things to work. And that's it. Thanks so much for watching. Please subscribe to the channel. Please like if you like this video. And we'll see you on the next one.